ahead on the Moneyline Weekend Edition. We've heard a lot of talk about the summer rally. Now, summer's come and gone, and the markets are finding fresh lows. So what went wrong? We'll find out what tripped up the pundits. Plus, the latest bleak news from the tech sector feeding the flames on Wall Street. Job cuts, warnings still coming. We'll find out what lies ahead. And as always, stock picks from our team of experts. We'll look at one major drug company that made the list.
The Moneyline Weekend Edition with Rhonda Schaffler.
Hello, everyone. Joining us to hash out the Fed and the market's reaction, John Manley, stock market strategist at Solomon Smith Barney, Chris Wolf, equity market strategist at J.P. Morgan's Private Bank, and Mark Klee, who manages the $1 billion technology fund at John Hancock. But first, Dow 10,000 comes and goes and comes again in a bout of selling not seen since 1992. That's right, August was the worst month for equities in almost a decade. So much for the summer rally we've heard so much about. Partly to blame for the carnage, what else? The tech sector, all month long. Job cuts and warnings plaguing shares of some of the biggest names. The latest victims, Corning announcing a new wave of job cuts, Gateway closing operations in Asia and possibly Europe, and Sun Microsystems warning of a loss being in the cards for the current quarter. Sun Micro and Corning getting hit, while Gateway shareholders shrugged off the news. Chipmaker Novell is saying it expects slow bookings in Q3, and Microsoft facing further scrutiny at the hands of the European Commission as they expand the investigation into its media player software. The Dow down sharply on the week, and the NASDAQ not faring much better. The question is, of course, and yours to tackle first, John, what happened? Aren't we supposed to be having good news by now?
Well, we were, and I think that's what happened. Good news was expected. We got a little bit of a ramp up at the end of July. We were seeing some signs the numbers weren't going down. And then around the middle of the month, people started to get concerned. I'd add one more thing. I think people are beginning to anticipate September layoffs and the effect on the consumer. And I think a good part of August's disappointment has to be laid at the feet of a failed consumer, or the perception of a failed consumer, which I don't agree with necessarily.
What about the personal consumption numbers that came out this week, both in terms of spending and, more importantly, in terms of the monies coming in? You know, we saw it up 0.5%, but of course the rebate checks were part of that. I think that to me is a little disappointing, and maybe that's part of...
That's right, because the rebate checks some people would have had by July.
I think so, but the American consumer is just not going to go away that quickly. I mean, we run true to type under pressure, and I think we stay with it for a while. We keep spending for a while. It's a question if tech comes back, though.
Well, you know, in the spending side, just to finish that up, I wonder if the two pillars of strength, though, which has been wage growth and mortgage refinancing, they look like they're going to start to fade, at least in our view, which is a little bit different here going forward towards the end of the year. So consumption growth is really going to be at risk, and we view it as towards the end of the year. So I think some of the anticipation that John is talking about is some of that coming, particularly when retailers are talking about a very difficult Christmas, and they're already managing their inventories. It's August. They're already managing inventories aggressively.
And of course, inventories, that problem never goes away with technology, and the news from the world of tech was just not good this week.
I don't know if I'd go quite that far with that. And in fact, I think I'm a bit more optimistic than most because of inventory, because I think what's